Welcome to the SportsCon. Here on YouTube, I'm your host Daniel with your top sports stories. There will be a Game 7 in the NBA Finals. The Heat would not die out in the final minutes of Game 6. Instead, they caught fire. Being down by 5 with less than 30 seconds in regulation, Miami managed to tie the game thanks to a 3 by LeBron James and then a 3 by Ray Allen to tie it with 5 seconds to go. It would force an overtime where the Heat would outlast the Spurs as Chris Bosh would block a tying three-point attempt by Danny Green as the last second ran out. Heat win by a final of 103-100. Once again, the Heat answer the call. A headbandless LeBron came up clutch late in the game, scoring 18 of his 32 points in the fourth quarter and overtime. He even blocked one of Tim Duncan's attempts near the net. The King was not to be messed with tonight. The Heat came up big as the Spurs failed to close it out. Tony Parker may have had 19 points, but he was 6 from 23 on the field. The prospective Finals MVP, Danny Green, only had 3 points in the game, going 1 for 5 from beyond the arc. Tim Duncan did have 30 points, but it seemed like he shrunk late. And also, what was with Popovich taking him out on 2 separate occasions within the final minute to guard against the 3-ball? Both of those made threes to tie it were made after failed attempts and offensive rebounds by Miami. I know Pop was trying to guard against threes, and hindsight is 2020, but Duncan getting a valuable defensive rebound in those spots would have helped seal the game and a title. Bottom line, there's a Game 7 set for Thursday night, winner take all, and all the momentum is with the Heat. It has been back and forth this entire series, and these two teams are not teams to lose 2 in a row, but even so, I do not like San Antonio's chances. In other basketball news, it seems that talks between the Celtics and the Clippers have broken down permanently. The Clips seem to have ended trade talks that could have gotten them Coach Doc Rivers and Kevin Garnett from Boston. Talks included possibly sending Eric Bledsoe to Boston, something that the Clippers seemingly were never going to do. The other LA team will have to move on and hire a coach to replace Vinny Del Negro instead of trading for one. It's disappointing that the Clippers and the Celtics didn't get this deal done. What could make things worse for the Clippers is that this deal falling through could impact Chris Paul's pending free agency. No Doc as coach means their best chance of now keeping CP3 involves trying to get Dwight Howard in a sign-and trade with the Lakers. And yes, the Clippers are still the other LA team to me. Winning a division title means squat in the NBA. Moving on, top scores and stories in baseball include the Mets winning both ends of a doubleheader against the Braves. First game had Matt Harvey striking out 13 in a 4-3 win for New York. Harvey also got the win, which makes him 6-1 on the season. And in the second game, Zach Wheeler got a win in his major league debut as the Mets beat the Braves 6-1. Wheeler pitched 6 shutout innings and struck out 7 in the game. Zach Wheeler, where have I heard that name before?
A couple of years ago, the Giants traded Wheeler, who was still in the minors at the time, to the New York Mets in exchange for Carlos Beltran. It was when the Giants were trying to make a push for another World Series title, despite the fact that they led the division by 4 games at the time of the trade. They ended up falling apart and went 25-32 the rest of the way, finishing second in the NL West behind Arizona by 8 games. And they lost Beltran to free agency the following offseason. Does any of this ring a bell to you?
It sort of feels like a repressed memory. I gotta go see my shrink.
But you're not done reading the stories.
I gotta go!
Okay, for more, be sure to follow him on Twitter at TheSportsConSF. You can also follow him at thesportscon.blogspot.com. He's Daniel crying about spilt milk from 2 years ago, and goodbye.